Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Gregory Martin, aka the Super Producer. Here we review movies, TV series, discuss filmmaking, and entertainment news. If that's something that you're interested in, please don't forget to smash that like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to ring that bell. It keeps you notified whenever I post a new video, and it also helps the channel grow. And with that being said, let's just jump right into today's review. And today we're reviewing the Netflix movie Wildlife. Now, this is an interesting little film with some star power. The film was directed by Paul Dano, who's taking a break from acting and is making his directorial debut with this film. The film stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Carey Mulligan and introduces us to Australian actor Ed Oxenbould. I think I pronounced that correctly. Now, the premise of the movie revolves around a young teenage boy who is dealing with his mother's complicated response to their father leaving them to fight wildfires in Montana. So let me set up the scenario. I was in the middle of cooking or something, and I just wanted something to play in the background, and browsing Netflix, and I come across this movie. Jake Gyllenhaal, Carey Mulligan, Paul Dano directing. Okay, this might be interesting. Now, the first 15 to 20 minutes of this film were not interesting at all. It was just not interesting. I can't even tell you what happened. But it was one of these films that got a little bit more interesting the more I kept, checking in and listening to what they were saying. Now, the film takes place in the 1960s, and Jake Gyllenhaal's character plays a golf pro who was fired from the country club he's working at. He doesn't feel like he was rightly let go, and this is something that just continues to eat at him every day he's at home. He feels less than a man having to come home and look at his wife and his son who are depending on him to provide food and just provide for them. It's to the point where all he does is he spends his day in the car watching these firefighters, listening to the radio, and listening to them going to, this mountain range to put out this massive fire. Now, in the middle of all that, he's actually offered back his job as a pro. They felt bad, but pride, man. Pride is the downfall of most men. His pride would not let him go back to this job. Instead, he volunteers to go with these local firefighters and fight this fire in the mountains. And you can probably guess how well that went over with his wife. She flips the out, calls them all types of names, and just really does not understand the rationale that he's making. Really put their family's well-being in danger without having another breadwinner. But instead of just bitching about it, the mother kind of, she has no choice but to step up. She has to, work more. Even the son, he takes on a job where he's doing photography, taking portraits of families, things of that nature. And yes, the mother takes this really hard, but the son doesn't necessarily take it as bad. I don't know if it was a thing of the times of the 60s or whatever, but the son, for some reason, just believed his father was coming back, gave the father the impression that he's going to figure it out and he's going to come back to the family a better man and really bring the family unit back together. Sorry to tell you folks, this is not a happy story. Like I said earlier, Mama didn't take this really well. Mom starts showing her ass, literally and figuratively. She's trying to keep the son fed, she's trying to stay sane, and she meets this rich guy who she's giving swim lessons to. It's kind of cliche, he shows her a life that she's not used to. He is attentive to her, and she gets caught up in this moment, this momentary insanity, if you will. I just think she had a momentary lapse in judgment, and this caused her to go down this road. Now, the father does return eventually, and acts as if nothing has happened. He comes home expecting that the wife is going to welcome him with open arms and let bygones be bygones. But nah, that's not what happens. The son is caught in the middle because he loves both of his parents. He doesn't agree with what his father did, but his mother, on the other hand, like I said, was cheating, and he was party to some of the cheating. But he doesn't want the family to split apart. Like it seemed like the son was doing a better job of trying to keep the family together than the parental units. And what really solidified this image is the last scene, which was probably one of the most beautiful scenes I've seen in a movie this year. The mother and the father, they divorce. So the son invites them to his photography studio and asks to take a picture. And you have on one side the mother, one side the father, and in the middle the son. And he takes a picture, and just the way the photo came out, I thought that it was a perfect way to bookend and eventually end the movie on that last scene. This was an interesting choice of story by Paul Dano to choose to make his directorial debut. I did have a few takeaways from the film. So I feel, and it's probably true, that Dano just probably read this material and really gravitated to the story. And after seeing the movie, I can definitely see why he would do that. The boy in this film, really reminded me of some of Dano's previous characters. I'm not gonna front and be like I know all of his work, but he plays a very specific character type. And just the direction and just the boy's mannerisms just reminded me, really embodied the type of actor that Dano is. It's all about his emotion, the way he looks, his countenance in the camera is just very. It emotes very well, and I feel like this kid has that same thing that Dano has used in the past. From There Will Be Blood. It just reminded me of like signature Dano as a character actor. If the character would have been much older, I figure he would have probably tried to direct and act as well, because this role is tailor fit for an actor of his caliber. Secondly, I felt cheated by Carey Mulligan's character. This character she played was just really a great opportunity. I guess, for lack of a better word, get to really know Carey Mulligan as, an actor. And this was really a role that really could have really showcased all of her range. And I didn't feel like she went far enough in this character. I just didn't get anything new, with her playing this character. And there was definitely opportunities for her character to really, be something that we've never seen her as an actress in. For example, the husband leaves the family and goes on to fight wildfires, and we see this relationship. We see how the mother starts to act out, how the mother isn't really taking what the father did very well. And there's really one scene that really solidified it for me, where the rich guy invites Mulligan's character and Oxenbold's character to dinner. Without them saying it, you can by just using context, you can tell that there was something going on between the mother and this guy sexually. You could tell that there's something going on. So at the end of the scene, the mother is upset. She feels kind of being used. She's being used in a way, and she sends her son outside to wait in the car. And she says, "Oh, I forgot something." She goes back into the house, and she doesn't come back until hours later. And the camera follows the boy walking back to the house, peering into the window and seeing the mother making out with the guy. For me, it just felt very vanilla that she would just come back into the house and just be kissing this guy. But the passion that she had, the fire that she had, you know, leaving the house and returning back to the house, I felt that that scene just didn't make any sense. And I don't know if it was one of these things that, because of certain agreements and, you know, the creative integrity had to be sacrificed. And I just really felt cheated. I felt cheated from a storytelling perspective. I felt like that wasn't it. That was not the way to do that scene, and it really just made me not really care about what else. You know, you gotta give people more compelling stuff, and I felt this was an opportunity for us to really see another side of you know, Carey Mulligan. But you know, that's my opinion. That was just my thoughts when I saw that scene. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. That is my review on Wildlife. Pretty decent film, worth checking out. You have some amazing actors in it, obviously Jake Gyllenhaal and Carey Mulligan, and even this new kid, Ed Oxenbould, did a fairly good job, fairly decent job. So, you know, definitely check it out if that's something that you're interested in. As I always say, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys on the next one.